Hey, it's Emily. Can we have a heart to heart real quick? I just wanted to let you know that I see you. And gosh, I know that you've tried every diet and you're just over dieting in general, right? And maybe you've been a longtime listener of the show and have implemented some of the habit hacks I've shared here, but you just haven't been able to be consistent due to, well, life and overwhelm. It's not your fault your habits haven't been sticking for you. You just need to do them differently. You need a habit strategy catered towards you, a busy working mom who knows the value of taking care of her health. But you just need a simple system to create habits that don't feel overwhelming and give you back the energy you need and deserve. So it's time to take action, and this is it. You know, my years of being a fitness professional and training moms in particular, I saw a gap between knowing, that we need to work out, eat healthy, and talk nice to ourselves, and actually doing it. Our day-to-day life is just so unexpected due to the invisible load that we carry that it has just been impossible to make your healthy habits stick. That's where the Healthy Habits Accelerator pod course comes into play. I created my signature program with you in mind, ensuring you'll finish it. It's an audio course, and I know you'll be able to complete it on the go, in the car pickup line, or even taking a shower. In just 10 episodes that you can easily binge in just a day or two, you'll leave with a 21-day plan to build momentum in your habits and feel good in your favorite leggings too. And this is all without dieting. Now, this is higher level habit strategy where we dig deeper into my atomic habit hacking system for women to address diet culture mentality, emotional eating, time, and family challenges with food, chaos, disorganization, confidence, self-care, consistency, and sustainability in your workouts, and time and convenience habit hacks, and so much more. This is based off of research, client testimonials, and conversations with you all as far as your biggest healthy habit challenges that you have. We will cover it in the pod course. Plus, I just added 2 bonus trainings and 150 habit loops to help inspire you to create your own. And we even do bi-monthly group coaching calls when you need my eyes on your habit loops to help you continue taking action. Now, you'll leave with my habit hacking trifecta 21-day plan that is going to give you the confidence that you can make your habits stick and train for life and really just fall in love with the process of making your health an automatic habit that you don't even have to think about even more. And since I love my podcast listeners so much, and to celebrate you, I want to give you $20 off of the Healthy Habits Accelerator pod course. Just go to bit.ly/Healthy Habits pod course and just use the code podcast at checkout to get $20 off. It's linked in the show notes for you as well. I am so rooting for you, girlfriend. Okay, let's get into the show. Hey girl, do you wish you could make your healthy habits stick, but life keeps getting in the way? Are you tired of diet culture telling you to shrink yourself when you'd rather just find true food freedom, move your body for joy, and feel and look good in your favorite leggings? Then you're in the right place. Think of this as Atomic Habits for women. Hey, I'm Emily Nichols, habit and fitness coach, millennial mom, and Taco Tuesday enthusiast. I'm here to tell you there is an easier way than what we've been taught about health and our habits. How do I know? Because I've gone from former chronic dieter to habit hacker through the power of the system that I'm now going to teach you so you can finally stop dieting and just train for life via your habits. Remember, it's not your fault your healthy habits haven't stuck. We just have to do them differently. Are you ready to habit hack your health? Then let's do this. You're listening to episode 244 of Habit Hack Your Health. Hey friend, welcome back to the show. Let's just face it, y'all. Being a mom isn't easy, right? It's not easy when they're little babies, when they're toddlers, when they move into elementary school, middle school, high schoolers, and beyond, right? It can be physically exhausting, and I can tell you now at the stage I'm at with my boys being 16 and 12, it's more so emotionally exhausting. I remember just being like so drained when they were little and getting up throughout the night. And now I'm up in the middle of the night sometimes worrying if I'm nagging too much, if they're okay, their friends treating them nicely, all the pressure they're putting themselves through with school, sports, and just they're under so much pressure at this stage. So I'm still tired. It's a different kind of tired from when they were newborns though, right? Now, I've had conversations with my mom about how my life is so different from her life when she was being a mom to us when we were little kids. I'm the youngest of three. My brother and sister are twins. They're 4 years older than me, and my brother has cerebral palsy. So there was a lot of extra caretaking that my mom had to do, which was physically and probably more so emotionally exhausting, which I know. She didn't have social media, though, to compare ourselves to others. She stayed home with us. She had a smaller community, like a village of neighborhood moms and church friends, which I do know sometimes she was lonely due to my brother. She wasn't able to go out and do like a girls' night with her friends because it wasn't happening as much. And plus, my dad might have been working and she was like, I need to stay home with my kids. And I know I certainly didn't have the pressures or overscheduled life when I was a kid like my kids do now. So if you think about it, even another layer to this with our moms, which we discussed this a little in today's episode with our guest Tara, they've all had a different view of health than we do, right? I remember my mom doing like the Jane Fonda VHS tapes and doing Weight Watchers like right when it was like exploding, and she would never lift weights. We actually had like a ladies only down the street from us, and she would go and do step aerobics with her cousins, which was so cool when I think back to it. Like she was meeting up with ladies that she loved, working out. I remember I went to a step class with her. I might have been 8th grade or like a freshman. And I couldn't hang. I could not keep up with them with a step class, which is so funny since I'm a fitness instructor now. But she would never like lift weights or anything. It was all just like cardio and restricting her calories. And self-care wasn't even a term back then, right? And really, it might have been a different time, right? And they had a lot of different factors coming at them. But when you think about it, the diet industry still hasn't changed in regards to spitting out so much health advice that can be really confusing, right? Which is why when I work with my clients or when you take my signature program, we spend time unraveling what diet culture has taught us. Oh my gosh, I literally had to pause because I was going to sneeze. Could you tell? Hello, spring allergies in the Midwest. Anyways, you can always hop on a free discovery call or grab the signature program, the Healthy Habits Accelerator pod course. It's linked in the show notes for you. Anyways, what I'm getting at is that as a modern mom, we just have a lot of new problems really fueled by social media comparison, overscheduled and overstimulated lives, feelings of loneliness, right? And even more in-your-face diet advice. There's so much. It's so complicated. Self-care is a word thrown around a lot now, but it feels selfish and mom guilt takes over, which P.S. you can grab my free self-care checklist complete with ideas and a tracker because you know how we love to habit track to help you make self-care more of a habit in your life at bit.ly/freebie self-care checklist. It's linked in the show notes. And if you haven't noticed by now, I always try to give you some type of free gift to help you take action on every episode. So go grab that. Let me know what you think. So I'm so excited for you to hear from my guest today, Tara Clark from Modern Mom Problems, because she just gets it, y'all. She gets it and does so with some humor, which I really appreciate. Like, we can't take life too seriously, like, for real. But about Tara. Tara is an author, speaker, content creator, podcaster, and the founder of Modern Mom Probs. After becoming a mom and recognizing a hole in the online space for moms to authentically connect, she launched her Instagram account in 2017. She has since built a valued community, solidifying herself as a humorous, trusted voice in the parenting space. I love following her. She just speaks the truth about literally modern mom probs and has a lot of funny memes along the way. I can always appreciate a funny meme. If you're on my email list, I always have a meme or GIF with our emails. So I really just hope you feel seen after listening to this episode with Tara. It can even laugh a little bit about the problems we do face and that we're all just trying our best, y'all. We are all just trying our best. So make sure to stay till the end for my top takeaways and habit hacks to help you take action when it comes to your modern mom problems. All right, mama, let's chat with Tara.
Okay, gang, I am so excited for you to be back with us today to hear this conversation with Tara Clark of Modern Mom Probs. So, Tara, thank you so much for coming on the show.
Thanks for having me, Emily. I'm really excited to be here.
I think this is going to be such a relatable conversation today. And more than anything, I want our listeners to feel seen and then that they're not alone in this crazy mom life that we are living. So I know we're going to do that. But the first question I ask every guest, Tara, is what is your favorite habit hack? It can be anything.
Gosh, I have so many. I feel like we could talk about this for the next, I don't know, 30 minutes of just that. But I want to tell you one of my favorite ones that we started doing in our house. And it may not apply to every house, but I'll give you an example. In the morning, when my son was getting ready for school, he would hate to go. We have an upstairs and a downstairs in our house. And he would wake up and then come downstairs and eat breakfast. And then normally he would have to go back upstairs and brush his teeth and then come back downstairs. And then we would leave the house and go to school. So what I did was we have a bathroom downstairs. And so I brought toothpaste and toothbrush downstairs so that he doesn't have to go back upstairs again to, get dressed and brush his teeth and come back, go up and downstairs several times. So it's a simple thing like a transition made all the difference in getting ready in the morning. Now, again, like I said, this doesn't necessarily apply to everyone who may not have, an upstairs and a downstairs or a bathroom upstairs and a bathroom downstairs. But for us in our house, it was like a game changer.
I love that so much. And that really puts things into perspective. As far as when we talk about habits, it's something that can be so tiny, but customized for you and your family. Just thinking of my youngest son, I'm oh, he would get distracted. It would probably cause come on, we got to keep on track so we're not late for school. And then it's up and down, up and down.
Yes.
So that was so simple, but a game changer.
It was just the simple, and I don't even know why I thought that. I was you know what? It would make this easier to not have to go up and downstairs. And then when he goes upstairs, then he sees his toys and then he wants to play with his toys. And then he's oh, wait, no, I want to sit and read this book. And I'm no, if you brush your teeth downstairs, then we're just going to go right out the door and that's it. So that's one of my very simple little ones. And then another, this may sound silly, but another little hack that I do is to write myself reminders in the bathroom while you're waiting to take a shower. I'll give you an example. If you write yourself a Post-it note, do, I don't know, 15 push-ups and maybe plank for 1 minute while you're waiting for the shower water to get warm, because you're kind of just hanging out there waiting anyway, you might as well use your body in a healthy way. And so sometimes I'll do heel lifts or I'll plank or do some push-ups while I'm waiting for the shower to warm up. So that's another one. These are all bathroom related, I feel like.
I mean, I feel like we're in the bathroom a lot of times too.
We are though.
Yeah, it makes me laugh because when we think we have something called an Atomic Habits for Women philosophy and system, and we have something called pee squat. So it's every time after you pee, you do 10 squats. That's how we have to do things, right?
I like that. But as a modern mom, many times you do have to fit those little micro habits into your day. We're
Yes,
busy.
ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Well, we could just go on and on about this. We'd be like,
I
well,
told you I had like a
and I
whole
do this in the
handful of them.
bathroom.
These are all of the things that we do.
I mean, I love it. Well, let's get to know you a little bit better, Tara. Can you give us just a brief story of really, what has led you down this path to what you do today, and more importantly, who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So, gosh, where do I even begin? I am a mother to an 11-year-old son. I am a wife to my high school sweetheart. We live just outside of New York City. We have 3 cats, and it's a lot. We have 3 indoor cats, 3 outdoor cats. It's a lot. And then professionally, I am the founder of Modern Mom Probs, which is a brand to help moms feel seen and heard. And I have an Instagram page, so that's mostly where you'll find me is Modern Mom Probs Instagram page. I have a podcast by the same name. I have a book by the same name. And so I'm big into branding, I suppose. Or maybe it's just the fact that modern moms have a lot of problems. So there's a lot of problems to tackle and solutions to find. Maybe that's what it is. But I got my start in social media when I worked at Nickelodeon. I worked at Nickelodeon before my son was born. I was actually in charge of Nick Jr. and Nick at Night. And so I like to tell people that I was Dora the Explorer on Facebook back in the day. And my mom used to run around and tell people like, my daughter's Dora the Explorer. I was like, on Facebook, mommy, on Facebook. And so when my son was born, I stayed home and was with him full time. And then when he was about 3, I got the idea of starting an Instagram account about parenting. And at this point, just to give you an idea of timing, this was early 2016. It was February 2016. I said to my friends and family, I'm going to start an Instagram account on parenting. And they're like, what are you talking about? Like, no one's really doing that. And I was like, no, it's going to be a thing. It's going to be a thing. And they're like, all right, yeah, have fun with that. And so just around the same time, there was a shiny new website called Canva that was kind of just, coming up. And so I just started making mom jokes and parenting jokes and memes on Instagram. And then 2017, we moved out of New York City into the suburbs. And then I changed the name. Actually, when I was in the city, it was NYC Mom Probs, which was very provincial sort of. And then I moved to the suburbs, changed the name to Modern Mom Probs. And then the account just took off from there.
I love that so much. And I love that you infuse humor into it as well. Because sometimes I feel like we do need to like sit back and just laugh at the audacity of some of the things that happen. And
that's what it is. When I started the account, my son was 3. And when you have toddlers, there's so much material out there. I mean, everything they do is funny, or everything they do is frustrating, or everything they do, you're questioning yourself. And so I said, oh, I think there's a real, there. And so that's how I started the account.
Just wait till they're teenagers. Like I have 2 boys that are 15 and 12, and it's.
I hear you, Emily, because I have an 11-year-old, so yeah. I'm getting there.
Yeah. Lots of material coming your way for sure.
Yeah, there's sort of a lull. I was telling my friends at one point, my other content creator friends, that there's sort of a lull when your kids are like, I don't know, 7, 8, 9 years old, because like things are kind of just like chugging along. They're not doing the toddler things. They're not doing the teenager things. And so I was like, oh gosh, I don't have as much stuff to talk about.
Puberty. That's where it is. Oh my gosh.
We actually just had the talk with my son the other day, and that's a whole nother episode altogether. Oh, he took it really well. Actually, he asked. So
okay, well there you go. Yeah, it's like sometimes like they like start a conversation you didn't know you were ready to have, and then you just kind of have you have to think quick on your feet because you don't want to like dismiss them, and you're like, well, they're wanting to talk, so let's have the talk. And
yes, yeah, that was it. After the shower the other day, I was like, and then luckily my husband overheard us like talking, and he jumped in. I was like, okay. It was like a tag team. It was like wrestling tag team. I like tagged him in, and then I walked out of the room.
Well, here's mom's perspective. Here's dad. Peace out.
Exactly. That was exactly what we did.
I like it. Well, a lot of times it does feel like a wrestling match, or having to tag in or out with your teammates and your partners. So, I mean, when I talk to my mom, I know she's like, Emily, she goes, you were so much busier than when I was a mom, when I was your age. There's so many different things that you're doing that I didn't do. And you're just so overscheduled and just so busy. And what are some of the more unique problems we face now as modern moms that maybe like our moms didn't face when we were growing up?
Yeah, excellent question. I think the biggest thing is the fact that parenting now is more like a sport than it used to be. And so parenting now is a multi-billion-dollar industry. And there are books, there are coaches, there are, I mean, everything, products, you name it, right? I mean, here we are ourselves talking about this kind of stuff. And so because now parenting is such a thing, that definitely differentiates itself from previous generations. And then also being busy, like you said, the overscheduled, kids being in organized sports, as opposed to years ago, maybe a handful of kids were doing organized sports, but the majority of them were probably just like out playing on the block. They were probably just like out in the park together. And there were not as many scheduled play dates where like mom would call the other mom and say, hey, can, Timmy come over at 4 o'clock? And so things are definitely different nowadays because of that scheduling, because people tend to be more like rigid with their time. And then parents, we're busy too. We're working moms who are often working out of the home, which is different from previous generations. And the last thing I would say about that too is that there's sort of a loss of a village. Years ago, families tended to live closer together. They tended to maybe have more people in their family. Maybe they had 7, 8, 9 kids within the family. And you could go to your sisters, you could go to your aunts, you could go to your cousins to ask advice. And now families are smaller, they live further away. And who do we go to? We go to our digital village. And that's where we get camaraderie, advice, support. So there's a lot of differences between modern moms and moms from previous generations.
There so is. And I feel like you said, there's so much different pieces of advice coming at us. And sometimes I think we fall into that trap of we're like, I'm going to listen to this podcast. I'm going to listen to this book. I'm following this person on social media. And you're hearing kind of the same message, but from different voices. And you need to kind of figure out what works for you. But also there's all of these creators posting things like, well, look at my beautifully curated family and my home, and I got ready today. And then we find ourselves just like falling into that comparison trap too. So I feel like social media has just blown up more so like our mindset as a mom, right?
I agree 1,000%. That's something that I suffer from with very often because obviously I'm on Instagram a lot. That's primarily, where I spend my time on digital, and I see it. I even just this morning, I happened to be falling down a rabbit hole of like get ready with me style kind of influencers, people I've never even seen before. And I was just like mesmerized. And I watched like 1,000 girls put their makeup on. I watched like 10 more girls get styled in wide leg trousers and what shoes to wear and what shoes not to wear with them and what chunky sweater to wear with them and what chunky sweater to avoid wearing. And it made me feel bad about myself. And I know I'm not alone in that. And that is definitely a widespread modern mom problem, to try to do what we can to avoid falling into that comparison trap. And then, like you said, the homes too. Every beautiful white kitchen, every beautiful white home, they all look to me, they all look the same after a while. Like you're scrolling on social media and everything just like starts to like blend together after a while. It's a lot.
That's so true. That's so true. And I have an older home. Our home was built in the early 90s, and we did a big exterior renovation. We've done other stuff, and I still have brown cabinets, and I never like film anything in there because I'm like, maybe I should though, because that's so relatable. Like, look,
see,
I still have like stained brown cabinets. Like, I want a white kitchen someday. But
you should do a video about that, because I think that would be very impressive. Now you're going to laugh about this one. I am so like, I'm not going to say counterculture because that's absolutely not true at all. But we bought an older home. And when we did our kitchen, white cabinets were extraordinarily popular. This was December of 2016. And we said to our contractor, we're going to do something different. We're going to go with dark brown cabinets, almost like to be like opposite of the trend, to buck the trend. And that's what we did. So we actually have a new kitchen with dark brown cabinets. We do have a white countertop, but still. So I say do it, Emily. Go in
Yeah.
there, make all the videos.
Well, and I feel like if there's any entrepreneurs listening too, I mean, how can you be more relatable so other people can like feel more seen? And also maybe you're the type of person they want to follow because you are relatable versus like, look at my beautifully curated kitchen. It's like, look, girl, here's like a quick protein hack from my brown cabinet kitchen.
Yes. Yes. I want to see all of the protein hacks.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So we're talking about that a lot right now, the whole month of January 2024 right now. Well, I mean, speaking of health, like as far as, there's so many different pieces of health advice even coming out there as well. So in your opinion, what are some of like the modern mom problems we are facing when it comes to our health as well?
Oof. The first thing I would say is there's so much information overload that we are just being bombarded with. You pick up your phone and you're scrolling through, and this girl's saying something, and then this other one saying like a counter thing. And you're like, I don't know who to believe. And then you're like, I want to listen to a doctor. I want to listen to where there's like research behind something versus someone that's just trying to like sell you something. That's the other thing, too, you have to keep in mind is like where that message is coming from. And, is it backed by science or is it someone that's just trying to like sell their affiliate link? You don't know, right? So that's something that's important to keep in mind when you are consuming content, especially health-based content. So it's hard to sort of weed through all of that though. But I think, for modern moms, one thing I have to say that I really am very proud of, and I really genuinely mean this, we drink so much more water than previous generations. It's a big deal now with the Stanley Cup and just thermoses and hydro flasks and all of those things right now. And like, good for us for drinking water. That's one thing that my mom doesn't drink water. She never drinks water. She drinks like coffee or juice. I'm like, hey, Mom, you want a glass of water? She's like, ew, no.
Well, I think it's even like watching our moms when we were younger. Like I grew up, I'm 42. I grew up in the age watching my mom do Weight Watchers, and she'd have like the little springy scale and she would put ribbons on her fridge. Like I lost 10 pounds. And then eventually she got like this big plastic jug where she would drink water like throughout the
Good
day.
for her.
And then
See,
she'd
that's
stop.
super good.
Yeah. And then she would stop and then she would do it again and stop and do it again. It was more like a social thing for her to like do with her girlfriends and stuff too, which I'm like, great. But also like the Snackwell cookies and like working out like a big cardio bunny to like be a certain size and to be skinny. And, that was even in a time when there wasn't social media. It was just like, you get like your Cosmo magazine and like, or Victoria's Secret catalog and look at all of those girls and strive to be like them.
Yeah.
And I feel like all of that diet culture mentality has really made health really overcomplicated and confusing for us.
Yes.
Where really we're like, look, I just want to be able to like I'm a big fan of tacos. Like I want to have like Taco Tuesday and like maybe a marg with my girlfriends like on the weekend and still be able to like eat colorful foods to give me energy to keep up with my kids throughout the week. And I feel like there's still so much more different pieces of advice, and the diet culture is a bajillion-dollar industry because there's so many different plans out there. Whereas really we're like, look, I just want to like feel good in like my favorite leggings and like eat the foods I love and also eat the foods that make me feel good too.
Yeah, absolutely. Our moms both, I'm guessing, because we are the same age. Like our moms came up in the 70s, which there was a huge diet culture in the 70s. Like even now, my mom still will say things that are sort of like reminiscent of that. I'm like, no, mommy, you don't have to diet. Like you can eat that. Like, please don't say that. Like she was saying that around Christmas. I was like, I'll eat today, but like I won't eat for the next 3 days. And I was like, no, you can eat now and you can eat later.
Well, even my mom, like all the time, she's almost 70 and I'm like, oh, here's a little like easy workout plan you can do at home with some really light dumbbells. She's like, I'm not going to lift weights.
Like, I know they have like this thing in their head. I know it's funny that you say that. I definitely think that was a generational thing. My mom was always big into walking. My mom was always quite fit because she worked. She was actually in the restaurant business. So she like was very physical. And so, so she actually was like really quite muscular, not muscular, toned. She was actually muscular, both. She was toned and muscular. And so she never really had to diet. I don't know why she didn't drink water. That's her own thing though.
Yeah, so I think it's also just thinking back, like, okay, what have I grown up with? What have I seen? Like, I remember like girlfriends in college, like doing keto for the first time, and they were just eating like a bunch of meat and like cheese all the time. And it's just really taking a step back and thinking about where am I at in this season of my life? What are like my core values, and how can I really support myself in a healthy way to what I like to say is like train for life, right? We're
Yes,
training for
that's
life.
really what it is. And you know what the thing too is I want to talk about this for a second is mom guilt. Many times moms think that they can't pull themselves away from spending time with their children to find time to work out.
Mm-hmm.
Even if you're working out at home while your kids are there, you don't have to go to a studio every single time. There are so many things that you could do within your own home, even while you're playing with your children. And so I know that that's something in the back of, maybe it's even in the forefront of many moms' minds where it's like, oh, but I can't carve out the time to work out. I have to watch them. I have to play with them. We're doing things together. And I would want to say, like, no, make time for yourself, make time for your fitness journey, make time for your health, because in the long run, that's going to benefit your children so much more than spending 24 hours a day with them.
Totally. I mean, mom guilt is so real. We're just such nurturing beings by nature. And a lot of times we're coming from a place of burnout because we think, oh, I have to take care of everyone else. And then maybe that even builds resentment towards like your partner because you're like, he's
Yes.
over there like living his best life, not to
Mm-hmm.
say that, partners or your husbands or dads don't have equal part in taking care of the kids. I feel like there's an invisible load and there's a big mental emotional load that we carry like on our hearts and in our head throughout our day.
Mm-hmm.
Like I said, I have teenagers and a preteen. Like, if they are kind of, in a cruddy mood one morning, it's like I carry that with me throughout the rest of the day. And you're like, oh, what can I do to help them? Or, and
Mm-hmm.
it's different for us.
I think so. It definitely is. Whereas, dads, and I'm trying not to generalize here, but whereas
Exactly.
dads may just say, like, okay, I'm going to go golf for 6 hours, or okay, I'm going to go hit the gym for an hour or two. And you go, oh, okay, see you later. Whereas moms don't always say, okay, I'm going to go to the gym for 2 hours. They're like, do you think it might be okay if maybe you could watch the kids while I go for a walk with my friend outside? It's different.
Yeah, I know for me, like my kids are old enough now and they've watched me really take care of myself. And, I didn't really start taking care of myself till honestly like 2015 when my oldest was 8 years old. And they're at the point now where they're like, Mom, have you like gone, do you need to go for like a walk or something
Oh,
today? Because
that's so sweet.
they know like, okay, mom is happier, patient, everything. And now I'm seeing them do the same. Like if my son has a hard day, he's like, I'm going to go, ride the assault bike, or I'm going to go, you just walk, or I'm going to like go do a bunch of push-ups real quick and like feel better really quick. And for me, that kind of really helped me lose the mom guilt over time. It was like, okay, they're seeing me do this, and hopefully this will be a good coping mechanism for them someday. See this as a form of self-care for them too.
Yeah. That's such a great feedback loop. It's true because they see you doing it and then you see them and then it all sort of goes together. I also do think it's worth mentioning that it's different when you have toddlers versus when you have 8-year-olds. And that's a big thing too. It's much easier to know if, you put your kids in school for the day and they're there for the full day, then yes, you can go work out, you could go for walks with your friends. It's different when you are home with babies and when you're home with toddlers. But even at that point, it's important to then try to get support from your partner, from whoever may be in your village, so that you can go and take care of yourself. So that, like you said, you feel happier, more calm, more ready to like handle what the day throws at you.
Yeah. Yeah. And just meeting yourself where you're at, or at whatever season of life that you're in. It
Mm-hmm.
changes as your kids get older, as you move into different careers
Yep.
or your relationship changes around you, your village changes around you. I think sometimes as you get older, and you've mentioned that a couple of times, Tara, and I know that is something so important because being a mom can be really isolating sometimes because we do get so overscheduled and busy that we don't take the time or make it a habit to create friendships or cultivate and foster the friendships that we have. So what is your suggestion to create more habits of friendship and connections in order to have a village? Because like you have like your little core, like under your roof village, like your family, but you need people outside of them too.
Yes. My biggest thing is get out of your own head and don't be shy and reach out to people. So many times we're telling ourselves a narrative of they're so busy. I'm going to be bothering them. I don't want to bother them. They're probably doing their own things. Well, yes, they are probably doing their own things. And it's okay for you to reach out to them. That's how friendships work. And so I think my biggest thing is just reach out, just keep reaching out. And you're going to land with the right people eventually.
Yeah, like you find like those friends where like I'm like, man, I haven't talked to so and so in a while. So I'll just send them a text like, hey girl, what's your schedule like this next month, where we can find a day that meets for both of us to like, again, just go for a walk or like sit down and just have like coffee for an hour together and catch up. Like I know for me, anytime I do that, like my soul feels like rejuvenated. I feel like, oh, I need to do this more often. And when you, like you said, it's a feedback loop. It's the other side of it, where if you really lean into how amazing this feels, you'll make it more of a habit.
Yes, exactly. There's something so life affirming, like when you hang out with your friends, like it's, you could almost like feel your energy and your soul really just go boop, 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 like all the way to the top. It's just like, people say about filling your bucket, and it's true.
So
Like
true.
it's wonderful. I need a good friend today, but that's why I like talking with you, Emily, because you're filling my bucket right now.
I know. Same. That's why we're podcast hosts, because we're like, I'm talking to people. We're friends with everybody. Or, it's even like I have you have a couple of like text groups with your girlfriends. We have a small one where we just get together every once in a while. Like we literally like, we're like, hey, we're wearing like our pajamas. Like
Those are the best ones.
Like we're not bringing food. We're just like hanging out. Like the kids are in bed. Bye.
Those are the best kind.
Yeah. Well, and just to kind of wrap up here, Tara, what would you say is one of the biggest things you would want a listener to take away from today's show, as far as, not feeling alone, addressing, there's so many different modern mom problems we could take with this. There's so many different routes, but in my mind, being a mom is such a blessing, and it's such a huge part of who I am, but it's not, and doesn't make up my entire being. It's a huge part of me. It's so, so huge, but there's so many other parts of me. So what would be your biggest takeaway you would want one of our listeners to take away with them today?
You're right. I mean, I think there are a couple things I want to say here. When it comes to habit stacking, right? Like it doesn't have to be all or nothing. You can do those tiny, small, like you said, like atomic habits, small little tweaks, like moving where you keep your toothbrush and your toothpaste to make your day and your morning smoother, right? So there's that. And then when it comes to, feeling seen and heard in a community, it's important to find your community. Like I said, don't be shy. Reach out to people. Maybe you met a mom at the park and she seemed really friendly. Like go up to her and introduce yourself. And like that's how moms make mom friends. Not always. Sometimes it's just like through school or through sports or something. But again, don't be shy, because you know what? She's probably thinking the same thing. And she's like, gosh, I wish I had somebody to talk to, because motherhood could be very lonely. So if we get out of our own head and she gets out of her own head and everyone comes together and says like, hey, do you want to like maybe get coffee one day after drop off? Yes, I would love to. And then that's how, we start to form these friendships. And the more we do that, the more comfortable we get with doing that, because that again is a habit, right? Like even making friends is a habit. You get out of your comfort zone. And so those are some of my favorite takeaways, I think.
Yeah. I love that so much. Well, I know you're big on community. Where can everyone find you and connect with you, Tara?
Yeah, absolutely. So on Instagram, you could find me at Modern Mom Probs. I have a podcast with the same name, like I said. So give it a listen. We have fantastic guests, from authors to content creators to, I mean, really, it just runs the gamut. Coaches, everything, doctors, all kinds of people. And each week we try to come up with solutions for modern mom problems. But the problem is that there's so many. So I have to keep doing more episodes because
I mean,
the limit does not exist.
you're not going to run out of problems to address. Well, and I love that so much. Like you said, that way more moms can find solutions that suit them and their lives in the season of life that they're in. And I hope everyone feels seen and feels connected to what Tara's message was today. So Tara, thank you so much. It was so fun chatting with you. Friends, we'll make sure to link everything in the show notes so you can connect with Tara and Modern Mom Prob. So thank you so much, friend. It was so fun chatting with you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Tara, thank you so much for this conversation. I had so much fun chatting and laughing with you and just being like super real that mom life is hard, right? So as I mentioned a couple of times in this episode, friends, I hope you feel seen after this conversation. So as always, let's get into my 3 biggest takeaways from this conversation with Tara Clark of Modern Mom Probs. The first one is we need connection. And unfortunately, we've kind of lost sight of having a village around us. And like Tara mentioned, she's done an amazing job on Instagram creating a digital village and hoping that you can connect with other moms and realize that we are all just trying our best. Right? And you'll need different relationships, different villages, especially as you go through different seasons of your life, as your kids get older, your career changes. Like, I'm a totally different person now than when my kids were itty bitty, and I will be in 10 more years from now as well. And at any stage of being a mom, sometimes it can be very isolating. We get so caught up in the busyness of life. Sometimes we forget to make connection an actual habit. And your village is so important and needs to be a habit. Tara gave us some really great suggestions of how to go out and do that and be vulnerable and make connections. We've talked about the power of community for moms on here a lot on the show because I do believe it is a vital form of self-care and a mindset habit that we need to make a priority. You know, I got my husband, I got my kids, I got my mom, my sister, all my other folks in my community, but we also need those outside community members as well. Next, this is a big one. It's comparison, right? There's so much advice coming at us right now than ever before, like Tara mentioned, not just with mom life, but with health advice too. And we see there's so many great entrepreneurs out there. Maybe you run a side hustle as well. I work with a lot of moms I've worked with a lot of teachers, and I work a lot with women who hold really high level corporate jobs, or moms that are just trying their best and running a side hustle at the same time. So there's a lot of different pieces of advice of folks on social media being like, try this, do this, here's what's worked for me. And I love that folks are sharing that, but you have to find what works for you and don't compare what your life or what your results look like compared to someone else. Like we mentioned, I got brown kitchen cabinets. My home is very 1993 in a lot of spots. And I'm okay with that. But I didn't used to be. I was just like, oh, I want to be able to, film videos of myself showing like simple meal prep habit hacks. But I don't want to do so in my kitchen because, it's not aesthetically a white, gorgeous kitchen. And, Tara really inspired me on this episode. I'm like, I'll probably post a reel this week on my Instagram and tag her because I'll show you a little habit hack in my stained brown kitchen cabinets, right? So we have to dismantle that habit of comparison. And if you find yourself scrolling social media, it's a habit for us just to automatically pick up our phone, right? And you find yourself comparing yourself to others. A couple of tips I would recommend is unfollowing or silencing folks if it's a friend and you don't want to like hurt their feelings, or even setting a timer on your phone. I have a timer for only an hour at Instagram a day, and once it goes off, I put my phone down. It's a really great reminder. And just remember, not everyone's showing you the realness. A lot of us are just showing you the highlight reel. And then lastly, mom guilt. There's a lot of mom guilt when it comes to self-care, taking care of our health, and that we're taking time away from our loved ones to take care of ourselves, and that's selfish. And I know you've heard this plenty of times. Like, this show used to be called the Self-Care Isn't Selfish podcast, because I do believe that in my heart of hearts. And again, you can grab that free self-care checklist. It's linked in the show notes for you if you need some habits to help you do this and track it over time, if you want some habit strategy in the mix. But y'all, you're setting an example for your kids, right? When you take care of yourself, you're showing them the importance of them taking care of their health. And I know it's going to look different for you. When my kids were really little, I was doing Beachbody workouts in my living room, like with my dogs, early morning. And now that they're older, I can afford a little bit more time to maybe walk during a practice that they have, or go do a workout late or early evening, because I know they are taken care of, right? They don't necessarily need me there 24/7. And your kids are going to notice that you're more patient and present, and you're going to be able to train for life and have the energy you need to keep up with that busy life we have, right? So take a step back, stop feeling the guilt around health and self-care. And really, when I work with clients, we first focus on like a habit identity. And sometimes that habit identity starts with how that benefits the ones you love the most. But once you start creating these habit loops and tracking them and tracking how you feel over time, that turns into like, no, it's for me. It is for me, and that is freaking okay. But sometimes it takes a while for us to recircuit our brains to do that. And that's where habit hacking can help. So let's talk about a habit loop. Tara mentioned, a couple of times we have this loop going on in our heads sometimes. And one that maybe tells you that other moms don't want to be bothered, or you might find yourself scrolling and you think you're not good enough compared to others, right? So let's flip these habit loops for you, which is honestly a bit easier than you think. We have a bonus training on breaking bad habit loops in the course, because it's usually the first things I chat with my one-on-one clients about is like, I have this bad habit and how do I correct it? Well, usually a lot of times you still have the same cue. We just need to change the routine and the reward. So let's talk about it, especially around comparison and connection, because I think those are two very important modern mom problems that we're facing that we can make into a habit. So we feel that connection, build that village, and stop comparisonitis. Let's say that. Okay. Let's talk about the first cue. Maybe it's scrolling social media, or your cue is a location cue, like you're at a kid's game. So this is for comparison and this is for connection. Okay. The routine is when you're scrolling, say a little affirmation. Have a visual cue on your phone of an affirmation, such as, I'm doing the best that I can for my family, and that's okay. I will not compare myself to someone else's highlight reel. Put that as use like a free template, put it on the back of your phone screensaver. So when you go to open your phone to scroll Instagram and funny dog videos on TikTok, like I do, that's a reminder for you. That is a visual cue for you to say that and be like, okay, this is a good reminder. Or for that connection piece, the routine is maybe, like I said, that location cue is you're at a kid's game. Go talk to another mom. And what I have learned over the years, I used to be a recruiter. I used to be a fundraiser. I've worked a lot of different sales positions based on relationship building and open-ended questions, right? I have learned over time, people's favorite subject is themselves, right? So if you want to you see this mom at your kid's soccer game all the time, you're like, oh, she seems kind of cool. I think I'd like to be her friend. And it feels weird. We're not like in kindergarten where we're like, will you be my friend? And you hope they're cool and their kid likes your kid. And there's a lot of different layers to it, right? But like I said, people love to talk about themselves. So the routine is go compliment on them on something. If they are genuinely wearing the cutest hoodie ever, or hat or shoes or their bag, and you think that is super cute, go tell them. Or if their kid is just a standout on the team, or they're super cute or super sweet, or they did something really nice for your kid, tell that mom that. That is going to open up the conversation where it doesn't feel awkward, okay? And the reward is around that scrolling social media. You stop the comparison. You bring yourself back to reality, and the reward on the other side is maybe you make a new mom friend. Okay, so again, thank you so much to Tara for this real real, authentic conversation about modern mom prompts. Y'all, go give her a follow and listen to her show. I was recently on talking about what else habit hacking for mom. It's all linked in the show notes. So I am rooting for you. I totally hope you feel seen after this episode. Maybe it put a little smile on your face to know that we're all just trying our best, and I am so cheering you on, mama. I'll see you later this week. Hey girl, real quick before you go, if you are ready to take action in creating your own habit loops, then I want to invite you to take the 3-day Habit Loop Bootcamp email challenge. You'll learn how to create your own cue, routine, and reward from that Atomic Habits for Women philosophy that we've shared here on the show. And it's also available audio only too, so you can take it on the go while you're mom Ubering around town. Just go to bit.ly/habitloopbootcamp. It's linked in the show notes as well to start taking action now. And if you love the show, the biggest way you can support me and other mamas like you is to leave a quick written review so we can help more mamas stop dieting and start training for life via habit hacking. Love and appreciate you.